All right, Andrew, you just aced the exam. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but you did a really good job. Why don't you tell us how it went, dude?
Sure. Um, yeah, I'll go through my week lead up. So I did
All right, cool.
two of the full practice exams. I did like one where I did just an hour at a time, and then I did another one about a week before where I did the entire 3 hours back to back to back just to kind of like feel it out, just sitting in
Yeah.
one spot for 3 hours. Um, Day of the exam, I went in person, had about an hour drive, so I wasn't worried about a hotel. But I
Hmm.
am glad I made it there early, just
Yeah.
because a couple problems showing up there, traffic and whatnot. So
Hmm.
they let me start early, but my in-person experience, my proctoring experience was rough. It was about
Oh
80
gosh.
degrees in the test center. So I'm glad that I was wearing shorts and I'm glad that I had something to take off. So something just keep in mind like weather and whatnot going on wherever you take it. And then
Yeah.
my proctors though, proctors were really slow for check-in and checkout. So just something
Interesting.
to think of when you're going through your breaks, especially. Um,
Hmm.
Took about 2 minutes for me to check out, so I'm staring at my screen, losing time for checkout time. And then it took like 3 minutes to check back in. So
Oh
each time I
gosh.
got back, I had already lost like a minute, and that's like check out, run, chug some water, get a snack, and go back in. So um, little rough on the proctoring experience, but I'm glad I didn't have to do it online.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be a little worse.
yeah, actual test wise though, um, questions very similar to Scott's Bank. Like near some of the questions might have been identical for all I know.
Mm.
Um, the answers though were a little bit different. The answers were more ambiguous. So
Yeah.
a lot more situations where it could be one or the other, or like what's the best answer. So
Right.
a lot of the question, like when I'm going through the practice exams, I would flag like 5 to 8 questions. Um, when I was on the real exam, I was flagging like 15 to 20, just because it was like,
Yeah.
wow, a lot of these are very close answers on what is the better answer.
Right. And so
I
how did you like did you just skate by like, oh, right over the edge, or did you how did you do at the end of the day?
End of the day, I was above target times three. The only
Yeah.
one there, like when I was looking at my results, I was close to not above AT on one of them, but otherwise, like I did better than I thought. But during it, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, during
yeah.
it, it was a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Um,
It's always like scary as you go in there. As you go in there, you're like, oh God, because you're like, this is game day. I got to get them all right, all that jazz. But you did super fantastic. Now you're an army guy, right? You come
yep.
from still in. And how much agile and stuff did you know beforehand?
So I kind of a little, but with like a little pollution from the government side of the house. So
Okay.
I have a grad degree in IT management, and then I'm working on grad degrees right now in systems engineering and program management. So I've been
Yeah.
exposed to it a lot, but with like government isms thrown in there where differences in terms, differences in the way that the government approaches risk or contracting and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's kind of like, and then I'm sure all the Army guys in here, it's the differences in how you approach people problems. And it's just like understanding like, oh, you got to be a little softer, a little
Okay.
like collaborative in your approach to it.
Okay. That's a good perspective to have. And then, like, do you remember how long it took you from beginning to end, about it, approximately?
Let's see. I started in early April. So I
Yeah.
was on the 12-week program. I
Yeah.
figured like no reason to rush it. I have the time.
Right.
I was pretty much exactly 12 weeks from start to test.
That's not bad. So that's nice and easy. And you were ready weeks ago, like Benita, Ben, and I thought. And so that's awesome. And so like when you went in there, think about like the learning process for you. You're obviously doing like post, education for a lot of different things, but what helped things come together for you? Everybody's different, but was it like videos or talking through things or some of the games or simulator, or is it all of them? Like, was there anything that helped you the most ish?
Yeah, so I guess like luckily the videos, it
Mhm.
was like familiar concepts, so it was a lot of review,
Okay.
but what really hit home was like Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So Tuesday was my coaching call. So coaching call and then this call right here, like
Yeah.
actually actually getting the feedback from coaches or getting the feedback from like classmates or hearing what their thought process on things are.
Right.
Um, And then tests, like practice tests, work well for me on like going through and seeing different types of answers, and then looking at when you get the answer wrong, like there's that whole blurb you have at the bottom of
Yeah.
like the what hit me the best was there's one section like why these answers are wrong.
Yeah.
So I go look at my answer, and it's like, oh, why am I wrong on this one? And then it's like, oh, well, obviously this doesn't answer the question, or this isn't as good of an answer, and starting to learn like the key words to look out for.
That's good. Yeah, we had played around a lot with how to format that. So that's the second iteration of breakdowns for the answers. And hopefully those, I'm glad those hit home a little bit as we went through and spent a bunch of time figuring that thing out. That's cool. So there's going to be a question always, and we'll open it up in a second when they're like, how much waterfall, agile, hybrid, like back of the envelope, and every test is different, but back of the envelope for you, what was the breakdown ish?
Yeah, I took that. I knew this would come up. So
Yeah.
I had one matching question. I
Okay.
had five EVM questions with one
Oh, wow.
calculation.
Okay.
That was like my entire business environment was just EVM.
Yeah.
I had at least 20 pick two or pick threes.
Oh, gosh.
Which was
Okay.
crazy, yeah. Um, and then breakdown, it was about 70-30 waterfall.
Oh,
So
70-30 waterfall. Yeah, I
waterfall,
mean
yeah.
that's good. I think that's good for people to hear because a lot of people go agile, 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 or hybrid, hybrid. So it's like good to see that like any given day you're gonna get a different mix. And you said your preponderance was waterfall, which is
Yeah.
random, whatever, some people. And then the pick twos. How did you deal with like the pick twos, pick threes? Like what was your general process for those, dude?
Yeah, those might have been the toughest ones.
Okay.
There's for like the pick two or pick three, there's always one answer that was like, oh, this clearly isn't the answer.
Hmm.
And then I would kind of work backwards from there on like this one's obviously an answer, this one's obviously an answer. But a lot of them for like the final two or the third one, I was playing a
Yeah.
50-50 game on like, oh, which
Yeah.
one's better. Um,
Yeah.
it looks like I got a lot of those guesses right, thankfully. Like applying like
Yeah. It
some,
seems
some
like
mindset on that one. Um, but there's a couple like throwaways where it's like, oh yeah, these are the clear two or these are the clear three, which is nice. You click through them and then you save the
right.
tougher questions for later.
Yeah, kind of makes sense if we think about it. Like if you have to pick two, they give you what, five answers or sometimes six or whatever. Like, yeah. So you're like throwing one away. So then, if one kind of jumps off the page, we're still in the same game. We're in the 50-50 game, whether it's a pick one or pick two, so we're good to go there. That's awesome. Is there anything like before we open up for questions that you just want to like, if you're like, hey, the last thing I want to tell y'all or the other students, like what's the most important thing you want to leave them with as far as like prep or exam or whatever you want to say? Like, what do you think, dude?
I'll say one more. Like the breakdown, we do
Mhm.
stress waterfall agile, but
Yeah.
what really hit me like during the test is it's really people process in business
Ah,
environment, which is what it's
yeah.
actually tested on. So
Yeah.
I was lucky on like the process ones when I'm 70-30
Mhm.
waterfall, where like 75% of those questions are change control board. Um,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
just it just happened for me that that section was like pretty straightforward. Um,
Right.
but it's if you're struggling with a particular section, I guess like waterfall versus agile, go back and try to do a little introspection on like, is it the people problems or is it the process problems? So
Yeah.
personally, like I knew the process pretty well
Right.
on waterfall and agile. The people one was a little tougher for me, and I'm
Right.
glad I got the result. But it's clear in retrospect, looking at it, like, oh yeah, I should have studied all people situations and not necessarily waterfall agile processes. It's just where you got to find
Yeah.
your weakness.
And just like as we go out there, so people might ask, like it's not like they like bucket it, like, hey, we're walking into the things that are related to like we're gonna ask you like people. It's like just random, and you're saying that like a lot of the questions that are all mixed in here, it's like how do we deal with like what's the next best thing to do? That's more process related. Or if it's like you're having a problem with the team, you're having a problem with the boss, down the stream, upstream, stuff like that. Those are like what's our way in the different frameworks for dealing with like the human side of the issues that occur, not just
Yep.
like A, B, C, D, do this, that, and the other thing.
And
So
like
that's
all
cool.
my people questions were like stakeholders are having problems with each other, or like you have a team
Hmm.
member that's having a problem with the senior team member. Um,
Right.
whether it's whether it's waterfall or agile is like it matters, but not as much as like the what's the proper way to handle this people.
More of like a servant leadership type of mentality and stuff like that. And the Army's fantastic, but like taking it out and go like, okay, it's not the U.S. Army or Navy or whatever it is. It's like, a broader sense of how we deal in Des Moines versus anywhere else. Yeah. So
Exactly.
that's awesome. That's cool. All right, let's open it up for questions. What questions do you have for Andrew, who did so well? What do we got? We also had Melissa pass. She did really, really good. And she passed as well.
I got one. Hey, Andrew.
Hey,
What's up?
Congratulations.
thank
Very
you.
proud of you. I know it feels really great. I can't wait for my turn to come. What did you do
Yes,
the
ma'am.
morning of to keep your nerves calm?
Yeah, so I purposely found a 1 p.m. test slot so I didn't have to like I could get going in the morning because I'm a better
Okay.
afternoon tester than a morning tester for sure. Um, Morning of, I woke up, I didn't sleep in too much because I know I didn't
Hmm.
want any foggy brain. Had my coffee, had my breakfast, walked the dog, um, and like I didn't touch anything. I think the only studying thing I did is like I had an hour drive, so I threw on
Hmm.
Scott's podcast for an hour just to listen to a couple
Okay.
things. Um, had like the agile practice questions or something going on for a little bit, just to like get my mind in the right place. But then showed up early. Again, I like walked around the building just because it's like I don't want to be sitting in my car for an extra 30 minutes doing nothing.
Yeah.
Um, Checked in and then immediately sat down and got going.
Super
That's
cool. I
awesome.
love it. I think I'm going to follow that protocol. It sounds like it's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
I
stay
mean, he
stay
said
hands off.
something good. It was like he knew that you were an after lunch guy or like a noon guy. If you're a morning person or occasionally some people like me late night people, you got to go to your happy time. Just don't force it to be like I got to get up all early because someone said early or lunch because of lunch. Like you go to your time. That's the best thing, you know. Yep. Sandra, yes, ma'am.
Congratulations, Andrew. That's amazing. That's awesome. I
Thank
just
you.
had a question for you. So it sounds like I just caught the tail end of what you were saying when I logged in. So you went through the 12 weeks and then it sounds like you took the exam right away. So just ballpark average, how many hours do you think you invested on going back and looking at the videos, looking at the why the answers, were wrong, that you got wrong, and really knowing the people, process, business part of it? I mean, how, off the top of your head, how
Mm-hmm.
much time did you spend studying?
In addition to like the actual hours of the videos or the hours of the tests, I'd say only really like 5 or 10 minutes per test extra. Like going back through the examples, um,
Mm-hmm.
like I would be able to see pretty quickly, like, oh, this was just a dumb mistake, and like I should have seen this and I didn't watch the video. But some of the ones that I didn't understand, then open up the answer video and just get like
Mm-hmm.
the roll through of like, hey, why'd you get this wrong?
Right.
But most of the time, looking at the why this isn't the answer really did the trick for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it would just put it out in clean language, like, hey, so like this actually doesn't do anything, or this is just like a passive fix or something like that. I'd say though why it isn't the answer did it for me, but definitely the videos were the
Yeah.
video
Right.
the answer response videos were helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just want to share real quick. So, I've been doing that. The ones I get wrong, of course, I watch all the
Mm-hmm.
videos. But what I'm afraid of now is just for studying purposes, it's like I can't possibly, nor would I want to, go back and watch all those videos of the ones I got
Mm-hmm.
wrong. And now that, time's gone by, of all of the 12 weeks, um, I'm just trying to like, condense it down to like what, the 50-50 game, what should I study? Maybe some of the concepts that I didn't do well in, I can go back on the quiz, results and whatnot. But I'm worried that the answers I did get wrong and I did listen to the video, I may not remember the why behind it. That's all.
Like repetition, I think is
Yeah.
well, it's that's a tough one because it really comes down to what do you not feel as comfortable in, I'd say, because
Mm-hmm.
like the process, the not the 50-50, the waterfall game or the like the scrum and the waterfall ones where like you have
Hmm.
to put everything in the right place. Just
Right.
understanding the process there, that knocks that out of the park right there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the people one, I'm with you. The people one was tough because there's so many. you can't possibly memorize situations. So
No.
it's really understanding the mindset of like, are you on a dev team or are you talking to a sponsor or is it a stakeholder, and understanding like stakeholder interaction, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
a
Well,
it's a
thank
lot for
you.
it. That's why it's
And we can
yeah.
we can take a look, Sandra. I was looking
Yeah.
at Andrew's
Thanks.
results, so we can take a look at your stuff and see where you are and what you've done. And like, I mean, even if you just take some of the ones you missed, you go to like simulator and just go to like some of the quizzes you missed and go through the answers. Maybe you watch those videos or maybe do the breakdowns and look at it from a different perspective. Could possibly be good. And then like one thing to do like in the class tonight, like if anyone feels like I don't know exactly if I'm doing well, kind of you're engaged in the call, you're using your time to explain, but kind of for a question or two, just like snap your brain and be like, I'm gonna like your head critique in a positive way what everyone else says from like a teacher perspective. You don't have to say it out loud. You don't have to do this. Just kind of try to think about like what would you would do if you were like on my Benita or Ben's side about what questions you would ask, what you think, what do you think they got right and wrong, stuff like that. Anything to mix your brain up a little bit to just go out of like student brain to like coach brain. Just another way to mix it up. But we can talk to you about um, how you're doing, and we'll get Debbie as well can help out if you're not in the Tuesday calls. We can go through there. That's awesome. One thing that's good. One thing I saw also, I could show you results if we wanted to show everybody, but you did really well as you went through. You didn't do everything, which is totally cool. The full exams, we try to get through it, but you had some scores, and we'll close out in a little bit. We're like, you got some 90s, 95s, 100s, like you did really great, but there were a couple 75. You got a 67. The last thing you took was a 67.
That's what
So
I
like,
do.
right, like
Stopping exam fatigue.
the
I was like, all
worst
right, I'm
whole
good.
entire of all of them. You spent 25.25 hours in the entire system. Cool, I got it down to the minute. But like the last thing you did was the lowest. I mean, it's the lowest of all of them. Did that throw you off your game or what?
I felt tired. So
Yeah. Okay.
it was like after I'm in school right now, so it was like after exam week, and then I basically treated this like another class, and it was
Yeah.
like final exam, and it was like I knew after doing the other 4 or 5 sims that I was like, okay, like I understand the material right now. It's now just a matter of like staying focused. And then
Right.
I think 67, it was like,
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
I know this is an anomaly.
Hmm.
Like a little confidence shaker. I almost did another one, but it was like
Yeah.
what at that point it's like we're in a week. I know that I know the material, and I knew that this was clearly like I got to
Yeah.
get away from the screen for a little bit. So I took pretty much the entire week off from taking anything.
That's cool. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting as I was looking through it, like, oh God, how did that strike you? And if it's a sign like in a quality sense, like it's an assignable cause. You're like, I've done well. I know that I'm tired. It's the end of a night. I treated this like a real exam. Maybe I lost a little bit of focus. Then you're like, okay, this is what happens. If I lose focus, I get a little bit lower. No big deal. So let's just not lose focus if it was just that easy.
I guess it
But
did
yeah.
help when I was actually taking it, where it was like, hey, go slower, or like I used your 150 75 minute
Okay.
thing
Minutes, yeah.
for it. I finished a little faster, but then it's like I used that extra time to review questions. And that
Yeah.
last one, it's kind of like the hey, like you see
Yeah.
what happened last time if you relax
Yeah.
a
If you,
bit to like just like stay
yeah.
focused for another 75 minutes. Does that work?
Yeah, so there's like always a positive side. If you like trip up, you're like, why? Was it I didn't know the content? Cool, we can clean that up. Was it I didn't stay focused? Cool. That's a management thing. So we can do it in there. All right. That is super,
Hey,
super good.
Scott.
Any other questions before we go on to solving questions tonight for Andrew?
Yeah, me, Scott. So I'm really glad that, as embarrassing as it may have been for Andrew, I'm glad that you told us his scores on his test, because
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a while. I'm a perfectionist. I go into a deep
Yep.
depression every time I get a 60 or a 69. I got to
Yeah.
take 3 steps back for a couple of days and then go back at it. So it's
Yep.
encouraging to know that he did so poorly. I'm joking, Andrew.
So poorly on one or two of them. He's a pretty smart guy. Yeah, but yes, ma'am. As we go through, yeah, yeah.
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 So
But
thank you.
it's
That was brilliant.
humanizing.
That was valuable.
Right.
I,
It's humanizing to know that like
I
you don't have to be
agree
100% perfect.
that I
Yeah.
had the
Go
same
for it.
thing happen. I've been like, I was hitting like 85, 85, 70, 70. And the last one I took, I think it was like 68 or 69. I was like, oh, and I'm like so tired. So
Yeah.
I switched to 50/50s and other things. So I was like, well, I hope I'm doing the right thing studying like this. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you
Yeah.
for being vulnerable like that. So
Yeah, there you go. And I tried to convince Andrew to come on as a coach, but he's got more than enough things going on. So if your ever life gets boring, you just call me and we'll put you to work. Simple as that. All right. So cool. All right. Well, congratulations, Andrew. Keep me in the loop. We also, the PDUs and all that jazz are in there. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you about the thing that we talked about. So we'll go from there. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, Scott.
See
See you,
ya.
everyone.
Yes, sir. Bye bye. Yep.